First off, let's get this straight. I am an independent. Let's stick with that. Let's keep that in mind as I go along here. Now, let's clear things up. When I say leftists, I mean far left, alt left, unhinged, crazy, way to the other end of the spectrum. When I say Democrats, I don't mean the Democrat Party as a whole, because I know there are individuals within that party. When I say Democrats, I mean the ones on top, because it's not easy to label them leftists, you know, through the eyes of the masses, because they're not actually doing what the people on the lower level, what the civilians or celebrities or, you know, mouthpieces, all those people, you know, it's easy to label them as they are leftists, but not so easy for the Democrats, which again, I mean the ones on top. Now, the reason I make that clear is because when you argue with these people, leftists now, they tend to take your generalizations as meaning all, and that's a problem, because I thought they were smarter than that, you know. When I put something out there that shows what the Democrats are doing, obviously I'm not talking about you. You're not implementing policy, so why are you yelling at me? I'm talking about the ones on top, whoever's in charge, because when you say shit about, you know, Trump or anybody on the right or whoever I agree with, I don't give a shit. As long as you're not lying, I don't give a shit, because I know you're not talking about everyone. I know better. That's why I don't argue with you based on the all, or, you know, the only time if I see you put all, that's when you hear me. But if I don't see that and you're giving examples, I'm like, well, yeah, they're doing that fuckery, so I can't say anything about it. Or if I do say something about it, maybe I have a different perspective or probably understand the other party's perspective, you know. But yeah, it's very hard to argue with these people. No, actually, I'm messing up here. It's not hard to argue with these people. It just gets tiring, because you know they're smarter than this, but because they're under this mind control, they can't break free. They refuse to. And I think when you get them, when you prove your point, I'm sure you've seen it, they either insult you or they stay silent, which is better. But because I don't even gonna say yet, I have not lost an argument with any of them, because facts are on my side, you know. But they don't okay, let me give you an example. This is very recent. It was about the whole Kavanaugh thing, and my stance is women should be encouraged to speak up. When the crime happens, we should put it out there, have their back, and encourage them to speak up. Not to feel ashamed about where they were, what they were wearing, all that bullshit. No. Ladies out there, I'm saying this right now, don't let that stop you. If some motherfucker does anything to you, you stand up and do it. Stand your ground. Fuck what other people think. Straight up. That's the message I have. On the other side, now with things like Cosby and now Kavanaugh and all these allegations, even with Weinstein, although I know he's guilty, but here's the point. They always wait years later or until one person speaks up, and then they want to come up. No, you shut up and sit down. You had your chance, because your silence could have saved all those women, for one. And there's a chance you're lying, because the fact of the matter is you always wait until this specific man becomes prominent in some way. Then you come up and say, why are you going after his money now? You could have stopped him. He could have been in jail. He could have not been in the limelight at all. But you wait till now to do it. That's kind of suspect. So forgive me or anybody for questioning your accusations because you waited too long. Nobody's saying in the beginning that you're lying. But this is our justice system. Due process is a thing. Innocent until proven guilty. We're not thrown out the window just because you're a woman. I'm sorry. You know? And it's men's instinct to believe a woman anyway, but we cannot take that chance. Yes, there will be misogynists that will be thinking, oh, she had it coming, so they ain't gonna believe you anyway, but that's not a majority of men. So don't put that out there. Don't be a fucking feminist and put that bullshit out there. Cause that ain't the case. So back to the argument I had. I was saying all this because like I was just saying, people have the right to question the validity of these claims, especially now with this Ford woman. Isn't she a psychologist of some kind? So you would think maybe she's helped people in this situation, especially when it comes to remembering a traumatic event. You're not gonna forget these things. I've been in traumatic events. Your brain either locks it down for you don't remember shit at all, or you fight to forget, from my experience. And then for many others that I've either witnessed or heard stories from, this and the other. But I'll leave it at my experience so it could be more valid in this conversation here. But yeah, it doesn't make sense that we cannot question that, because this woman has a hard time remembering who did it, who touched her, the room, this and the other. And you know, for somebody that's in that field of psychology, I could be wrong if I'm remembering that wrong, but I'm going based on what I think I remember. But still, you know, you have to question that, you know. And my thing was, in my argument with this person was, for the longest time, the polygraph test was always considered not admissible or non-reliable, right? All of a sudden, when it comes to her, they want it. You know, they want it. They're begging for it with her and Kavanaugh. I'm like, nah, man, where did that come? When did these rules change? You know? And through this argument, I was saying, why does this happen? Then, of course, Trump comes up. So she's like, what about all these women that are accusing Trump of the same thing or similar things? And I was like, I never heard of that. I asked, is it the porn star thing? Because I wouldn't count that. That's the difference between allegations of cheating and sweeping under the rug and actually assaulting a woman. And then she said no. And then she said there are a plethora of them. And she sent this image of all the women that are accusing him. And I was like, okay, when did this happen? When did they make this claim? Was it when the offense happened? Or was it years later, you know, as he was in the spotlight when he had his show, and then now as a president? Or as a true victim should do, when somebody fucks with you, then you can't handle that on your own. You call the authorities right away. You make a report right away. Then she sent me an article, and I'm like, okay, proof. Maybe you got me. Maybe I'm wrong. Scroll down. There were claims, although they were years ago, there were claims years after the fact. And this was, like I said, like my argument said, when they reach prominence, that's when somebody speaks up. And I'm like, that's a smear campaign. I'm sorry. Even if it's true, you cannot expect anybody who thinks fairly to jump up and believe them. You have to provide the facts. You have to. That is when you should call for a full-scale investigation. But no, you obviously you don't have a problem with it because you didn't say anything. You know, and when you're laughing about him, like, hey, he did, he did that like that, and I'm like, this is not funny. This is serious. He supposedly ruined your life. Don't joke about this. And if you're lying and you're joking around, you're about to ruin a man's life. And don't forget, let's forget the fact that he's a man right now. Let's remember, he has a family, young kids. A lot of these people who they're accusing have kids. They don't consider that. They just want this feminism thing to rise and just, anyway, I'm going with it. That's one of my points. This is an example of one of the arguments I've had, so you have an idea of what I'm talking about, because I'm sure a lot of you have gone through this. So I want to know if you had arguments with leftists and they do this bullshit, like they wouldn't think this way. I cannot believe that they thought this way before Trump was elected. I refuse to believe that, because some of them that I argue with, if I was to say this before Trump won, they would have been in agreement and they would have given examples. I'm sure of it, because I've had highly intelligent conversations with these people before. And when it comes to things like this now, because it's all political and he won, and and their side is losing and they're getting proven wrong all the time, it's like the act of being fair is gone. It's like the left and the mind control and everything has a hold on them. Okay, I'm going to give a little background on me so you better understand why I think the way I do and why I'm able to notice these things. As a kid, I was very self-aware, very observing of what was going on around me. It didn't make life easy because I was like that. When my friends would get into things, I would see they got into things because the majority of our other friends got into it. I've witnessed this. For instance, there was I don't know if it happened anywhere else, but back in Brooklyn, there were waves of fads that will hit. There was the comeback of the yo-yos, there was the marbles, and then hairstyles. There was the wave, and then there were cornrows, and I got into what I liked. I always got into what I liked. Sometimes it'll fall in line with what everybody else liked, sometimes it didn't. For instance, the waves. This was before these. I never got into the whole wave fad. So everybody had it but me. All the boys had it but me. Everybody, the barbershops were making money those days. They would get that cut and they would just wave the shit out of their hair. And I was like, God, that's all shiny and shit. I don't want that. Nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do that because my best friend's doing it too. But they would do that. They would fall in line with the fad. I couldn't do it. I was always true to what I enjoyed. And I'd always pray that whatever was next, I would enjoy it too. For instance, when the yo-yos came back. Oh, I was rocking them Dunkin' yo-yos. My favorite was the butterfly one. That I stuck with. And everybody was in it. I was finally able to fit in. But there are other fads that came around, like the marbles and stuff like. I wouldn't enter like these competitions, stuff like that. I would just collect them because marbles look cool. That was about it. I never fell into it. So the reason for saying this is I always noticed when people fell into things because they wanted to, or because their favorite artist, or actor or somebody or their friends was into it, and that was the sole reason. They weren't being true to them, and they forced themselves, because when you see the way they act with it, it never fit. There was something, the frequency was off with these people, you know. I'm not saying this to hurt it. If my friends are watching this, I'm not saying this to hurt you. It's just something I observed. Maybe I'm immune to the, we call it, maybe I'm immune to the subliminal messages in commercials and movies and stuff like that. Maybe I am. Maybe a lot of, I'm gonna guess maybe a lot of the people who walked away have that, because based on the stories that I heard, they were true to themselves. They just didn't want to lose their friends, so they just acted along, knowing what they felt in their heart. Something's wrong with this party, blah blah. You know, you heard the stories, you've heard mine. So, you know, something tells me that, in a sense, they probably were self-aware as well, and they were able to notice these things with their peers, but they didn't dare say anything because they didn't want to hurt their feelings. They wanted to keep their friends. You know, they already felt different. That's how I felt. That's how I grew up. So yeah, so when I get into these arguments with people that I know are smart like this, I try not to keep it political. I try to keep it in a way of fairness. That's why I bring examples and comparisons, so they'll see, like, how could you say this when this person did that? I try to, you know, I do that so it could, you know, something will click in their head and be like, you know what, oh shit. But they don't. And the thing is, maybe I'm lucky because I'm independent, so maybe I'm lucky that I never fell into whichever one, or even if I did fall into whichever side of the political spectrum, if anybody fucked up here, I could easily say, gotta let you go, bro. I can't let this go. I'm not down with this. Same thing if it happens over here. You know, I always look at myself as a patriot. You don't have to be either or to be a patriot. I think patriotism should come first, and then whichever party falls in line with what true patriotism is, you know, then you join that party. I can't join things. I'm not like that. Like I said, I grew up like that. I can't. I'm not saying I'm you know, I'm not Switzerland here. I'm just saying I can never fall on a side. It's just what's right. And you know, I know how it is for when you take sides. It's hard. You know, you don't want to betray anybody. You don't want to hurt anybody, and you don't want to be compelled to do what they say. It's like a freeing. It's freeing to do it. But then, you know, when I get into arguments like this with leftists, I'm like, damn, it must suck right now to be a Republican, especially a black one, because nothing you say, you can't say shit, man. Nothing you say matters. They won't give you a platform. Like, it's crazy, especially like with this Kavanaugh thing. The amount of women that he's been involved with, you know, professionally over the years that came out to speak in his behalf. How long did that story run? Or if it even ran at all? Because I remember seeing a snippet of it for like a day and never heard of it again. Why are we hearing them giving their testimony of their experience with him? And in this era of Me Too, you'd think they jump at a chance, especially when you could get some money off of it, you know. So it begs the question, yo, what's going on here? You know, somebody's lying, and I don't think it's him. You know, maybe something did happen to her. I was actually considering something happened to her. I didn't believe it was him anyway, but you always have to keep that. You always have to keep your mind open that it's a possibility. But as days went on, especially when she gave her testimony, and I'm thinking about her profession and the way she was behaving, and then that woman, the prosecutor that was asking her questions, and she caught her up in so many lies, and they were just laughing it off. I'm like, yeah, okay, something's up. Something's up. Why is it only your husband's family speaking up for you, but your friend that was with you said, no, that never happened. I wasn't there. Or that, I don't remember that. Or even the person that drove you home, like you claimed, that person didn't even come out or say anything. You know, it's like, I'm sorry, you're lying. You know, more and more getting convinced, but it's just funny that no one else can see past this bullshit of a story, man. You know, this Me Too thing, this feminist shit, is fucking us over, because we've seen it before with Emmett Till, what jump started it, the civil rights movement. We've seen this. We've seen how this ended. Kavanaugh might not be black, but he's dealing with the same fuckery, son. Straight up. Then you have people like Patton Oswalt and all these fucking comedians wearing "Believe All Women." Are you serious? Yo. Oh my God. Come to me with that fuckery, son. Ooh. These celebrities that's got hold of these leftists, man, because I know they're smarter than that's what makes this sad, because a lot of these people, these leftists and these SJWs, a lot of them know better. All of them are far gone. So, I mean, a lot of them are far gone that there's no hope, but some of them are like, you can't, that hypnotism, that it's got a stranglehold on their mind, and I don't think they'll break free. And it's pure evil. I'll just straight up say it. It's pure evil. If you're gonna like straight up ignore what's going on, what's in your face, you know. I'm gonna tangent for a minute here. The same people who are convinced Kavanaugh is guilty, and you should see the memes, yo, it's crazy. The same people who are against Kavanaugh are the same people who believe Cosby is innocent or shouldn't be in jail. I am one of those people who believes he's innocent. Innocent in a sense that he should not be in jail, because this was the 70s, and this was Hollywood when it was an unspoken rule that you had to fuck this person, that person, anybody, a director, prominent writer, producer, whoever's running shit, you got, or whatever actor's lead role, and he could say something for you and you're in. That was like the unspoken rule, that you got to go down on somebody to get somewhere in this industry, you know. And Cosby was part of that, I ain't gonna lie, because yo, straight up, look up Richard Pryor and his roasts and shit like that. He wasn't joking. He was saying in a joking manner, but the men were fucking each other. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. This was Hollywood back in those days, you know. And this is why I see why Camille is sticking by his side, because I have a feeling like she was down with all of that too, man. There was sex party, yo. This was crazy shit back then, you know. So it's true. I believe it's true that all those women that came out against Cosby, they had sex with him, but I don't think he raped them. Nah, I think drugs were involved. Drugs were in the system. A lot of them were racist back then, but they wanted that role. They're like, I'm not fucking a nigger. No. So what do? This is my theory, though. I have no solid proof that this is what, because of what Hollywood is and was, this is the conclusion that I've come to. Yo, they took that drug so they'll leave their bodies, leave their head, because there's a black man on top of me, but I want stardom, so get it on, you know. Then the moment this man tells people like me to pull up their pants, attempts to buy NBC, shows a little bit of Republican in him. Yo, all we needed is one comedian to say something. That fucking Hannibal Buress, all we needed is him to say that shit. All hell broke loose. Why? The timing's kind of suspect, don't you think? Now back to what I was saying. Those same people who believe Cosby is innocent, same fuckers are convinced Kavanaugh is guilty. No, their arguments were, these women waited that long to say something? Cosby has done a lot since then. Why didn't you say anything then? You know, you were out of the industry how long after that? So it's not like your job was threatened. Why are you saying it now? I don't see a different story with Kavanaugh. This was 30-something years ago? And you have a hard time believing him? It's easy to believe her, and her story's more flimsy than than a lot of the women that accuse Cosby. So tell me how that works. Tell me, please convince me of how that is not mind control. That is not the left's power over people's minds. This is what, like, I'm gonna tell you this. When it comes to Kanye, I first heard of him when he showed up on Chappelle's show. Then a few years later, you know, I got into his stuff. Then when he started snapping, I was like, oh man, Hollywood's got him. The industry's got him. I stopped. You know, because his music started to get shitty, in my opinion, so I just stopped. Then, you know, recently, even when he showed up to, I think it was Trump Tower, and he had the gold hair and shit like that, I was like, this dude's nuts. Then turns out he went to the hospital, he came back, and all of a sudden he's tame, he's starting to talk sense, and I'm like, yo, let's tell you this shit's real. They're fucking with celebrities' minds in order to fuck with your mind. But back to what I was saying. So now he's back and he started to talk sense, and he's speaking on what I'm talking about right now, what is happening right now. And you see how easily they turned on him? A lot of people who woke up to what he's saying now supports Trump. Just putting that out there. But at the same time, man, how can people be blind to what's going on? How? You know, so this is crazy. But again, you know, when it comes to arguing with leftists, keep this in mind. Don't try to change their mind. Don't. It's too late, or they'll learn the hard way. You know, something might happen to somebody they know, something similar to, I'm not, you know, God forbid, but I'm saying maybe, you know, people sometimes you got to take a certain amount of licks to start understanding things. Maybe that will break this hold that the left has on them. But yeah, man, when I go into arguments with these people, I do not go in trying to change their minds. That's not my job. I just try to give my perspective and show the facts. You take with that what you will. But the moment you start accusing me of something I'm not, that's when you're going to hear me. That's when I still restrain the urge to say something, because I have an arsenal of words that will tear you apart, and I don't do it because I don't want to be like you. I have that self-control. Obviously you don't. You don't have that self-control because you're under mind control. You're under the control of someone else. You understand? So yeah, man, so if you get in an argument with them, don't try to change their mind. Okay? Just let them dig a deeper hole for themselves and just show the world. Because I do. When I get in arguments with these people, I save those conversations, I snap them, and I show them to people. And it's not, yo, I'm a New Yorker. I'm in LA. I'm surrounded by Democrats. So clearly, the friends I have are Democratic. They know I'm not talking about them. That's why I say the words leftists and don't say Democrats. And when anytime I say Democrats, or anytime I share something that says Democrats, it's always the ones in power. Just so you know, whoever's out there, whoever I argued with is listening, maybe you'll understand it by hearing me instead of just reading what I type. But yeah, don't change your minds. Just, stay in your lane. Do what you gotta do to get the truth out there. Be civil. Do not go down to their level. All right, straight up. But yeah, arguing with the leftists, don't let it drive you crazy, because I've almost gotten to the verge. If I didn't start sharing these arguments with people, especially with other Democrats, and when you see other Democrats that I know laugh and be like, the fuck is this person? Yo, it calms you down. You're like, oh, okay, so I'm not crazy. Okay, good. Mind you, these people didn't walk away. They just could recognize fuckery. Because I'm not telling anybody to, I'm not gonna tell anybody what to do. But if it's hurting you, the way it's hurting a lot of people, and the way it's hurting me, that's when you walk away. Because you ain't gonna hear me tell my mom or dad or brothers or close friends to walk away. That's why I put the video out, so they'll see it and they see the reasons. But this, oh man, it's laughable. You gotta laugh because this may be a circus, but when you see what's going on, you feel a sense of vindication. You feel free, man, and you're like, oh, this poor Jones. I wish it wasn't my friend, but maybe if I share this video, or maybe something will happen. If nothing happens, man, just live your life. Don't waste your time thinking about them, because they didn't think about their own. They're thinking about what Beyonce says, or whoever out there saying, or whatever, whoever's in charge of their party is saying, instead of critically thinking. But yeah, I just want to share my thoughts on that. So I haven't posted in a while. More is coming soon. I got a lot of stuff going on my end. But yeah, I'd like to give my thanks to all my listeners, viewers, subscribers, especially. Thank you. And hit the like if you enjoy what I said. Share. And yeah, maybe somebody may have experienced something like this. Just share it, man. And yeah, stay sane. Don't let these people fuck up your mind. Don't end up like them, because, well, then again, you're strong enough. You walked away, right? So clearly you have some mental shield up against this mind control. Hopefully you can help somebody break free. Just don't force it. Just show the facts, do what you gotta do. Don't force it. Never works that way. The voice of experience. Cheers.
Can I get a plan B, please?
What? This is a pharmacy. We don't do abortion.
No, I want a plan B.
We don't do abortion, sir.
No, I want a plan B pill.
And we don't do abortion.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Jesus Christ! Why you coming to our for?
No, I just want a plan B.
Yeah, but why you coming at the people them girl picnic boom boom for? You should have come on our boom boom. Go to aisle 14, sir. You will find Pampers, baby bottles, strollers, chip, cleaning equipment, and all the other things you may need for your baby, sir. Now come out of my department. Come out of my department. You are a